All right. Talked a little bit about loops. I talked about for loops last time, and so this time I'm going to talk a little bit about while loops. And remember, a while loop happens, or the best use of a while loop is when you are going to, when you don't know how many times a piece of code needs to be repeated, you use a while loop. So if you're waiting for a user to input something, or you're not sure when they're going to stop running something, or you're waiting for some other process to finish before starting something else, that's a good instance of a while loop. So to put a while loop in, we do the exact same thing that we did with the for loop. We're going to right click over here in the block diagram, and under structures, we go to while loop, and we drag one out. And this one has the familiar iterations terminal that tells us what loop number we're on. And it also has this thing here. It says loop condition. Well, what I want to do with that is if I go over to the front panel, right click, and under Boolean, I'm going to go ahead and pull the stop button and put it out here in the block diagram. And you'll notice the terminal popped up here, or I put the stop button over here in the front panel, but terminal appeared over here in the block diagram. I'm going to move this thing over here and just wire these together. So to wire, you just hover your mouse there and you'll see a little spool of wire up here. Just drag it over to here. And what this means is this loop will run until I press the stop button. Basically, this little loop condition is waiting for a true signal to stop the loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go over here just to demonstrate this. And I'm going to right click on the iterations and do create an indicator. This is basically going to tell us what loop we're on. I'm also going to make it bigger because it might be a really big number. Then I hit run. And you'll see that this thing's counting up. It's going through lots and lots of loops until I hit the stop button. So that's basically how a while loop works. I'll show you, let's see, what else should I show you with a while loop? I think that's most everything with the while loop. If we wanted to slow this down, we could do the exact same thing where we put a little wrong one again. There we go. Where we put in a timer. I'm only going to do 100 milliseconds this time, just to slow it down a little bit. You'll see that this is counting up. And that basically is how many times this loop is executing. Some other things you can do are, suppose instead of a stop button, I could do something like, all this thing cares about is getting a true or false, which is known as Boolean. All this thing cares about is getting a Boolean signal. So I can have other criteria besides the stop button here. And we'll talk about Boolean logic here in a few weeks. And so you can wire all sorts of neat stuff to this stop loop, or to the stop condition. That's basically what I needed to say on that. You can also double click on this or change this one. And instead of stop if true, you can make it continue if true. And that'll look like that. And you'll notice when I run this one, it stops right away. Because right away, this continues while true. So there it goes. So there it is. There's a stop button for you. And the while loop. So you'll be expected to use these. Sometimes this looks like an infinite loop because it just keeps going and going until some condition's met. And sometimes you want that in a program. So maybe this loop is checking the emergency stop condition. And you want it to just look forever unless there's an emergency. So anyway, that's what I have for that. So you'll be using while loops throughout the rest of your time here.